In the world of aviation, giants rule the skies. For decades, the battle for supremacy has been a two-horse race between Boeing and Airbus. In this high-stakes game of engineering, strategy, and sheer ambition, every move counts. Today, we're diving deep into a story that almost was a tale of a plane that existed only on paper but had the potential to change the game forever. This is the story of the Boeing 777-10. To understand the 777-10, we first need to look at its legendary family. The Boeing 777, affectionately known as the 777, first flew in 1994 and revolutionized long-haul travel. It was the first commercial aircraft entirely designed by computer, and its massive twin engines offered unprecedented efficiency and reliability. Over the years, the family grew with variants like the ultra-long-range 777-200LR and the best-selling 777-300R. Then came the next generation, the 777X, featuring the 777-8 and the colossal 777-8 and the colossal 777-9. The 777-9 was designed to be the king of the twin-engine jets, a massive aircraft capable of carrying over 400 passengers. But even as the 777-9 was taking shape, Boeing's strategists were looking at the chessboard, anticipating their rival's next move. That rival was Airbus, and their queen was the A380, the double-decker super jumbo. While the A380 was a marvel of engineering, its massive size made it a niche product, profitable only on the busiest routes. The market was shifting towards smaller, more efficient twin-engine jets. But Airbus had another card to play, the A350 family, and specifically the A350-1000. This aircraft was a direct competitor to the 777-300R and the upcoming 777-8. As airlines began to show interest in an even larger twin jet, a potential A350-2000 concept started floating around in aviation circles. It was a theoretical stretch of the A350-1000, aimed squarely at the space between the 777-9 and the A380. This is where the Boeing 777-10 enters the picture. It wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. It was a calculated strategic proposal. Internally, Boeing engineers began to sketch out what a super-stretched 777X could look like. Their mission to create an aircraft that could not only challenge a hypothetical A350 stretch but also serve as the final nail in the coffin for the four-engined A380. The concept was audacious. The 777-10 was envisioned as a simple stretch of the 777-9. By adding 4 to 5 fuselage frames, they could increase its length to nearly 80 meters. This would allow for about 40 more seats, pushing its capacity to around 450 passengers in a typical configuration. It would be, without a doubt, the longest passenger aircraft ever conceived. But stretching an airplane isn't as simple as adding a few metal rings. Every change creates a cascade of engineering challenges. First, there's the weight. A longer fuselage means a heavier aircraft. This extra weight would eat into the plane's range. The 777-9 already boasted an impressive range of over 13,500 kilometers. The 777-10 would likely see that number drop, making it more of a high-density regional powerhouse than an ultra-long-haul globetrotter. Then, there's the power. The 777X is powered by the largest and most powerful jet engines ever built, the General Electric GE9X. These behemoths are a work of art, with a fan diameter wider than the fuselage of a Boeing 737. The question for engineers was, could the existing GE9X engines handle the extra weight of the 777-10 without a significant performance penalty? Early calculations suggested they could, but takeoff performance on hot days or at high-altitude airports would be a concern. One of the biggest hurdles, however, was a very practical one. Ground operations. An 80-meter-long aircraft presents a serious challenge for airports. The iconic tail strike, where the back of the fuselage scrapes the runway during takeoff or landing, becomes a much greater risk with a longer body. To counter this, Boeing would need to design a more complex, taller landing gear system. This wasn't just a matter of making the gear longer. It would require redesigning the gear bay and the surrounding wing structure, adding weight, complexity, and cost. Furthermore, could this giant even navigate the world's airports? Taxiways have specific turning radii, and gates are designed for certain wingspans and lengths. While the 777X's innovative folding wingtips solved the wingspan problem, the sheer length of the 777-10 would limit the number of airports it could operate from. This was a critical factor for airlines. A plane is only profitable if it can fly where passengers want to go. So, with all these challenges, why did Boeing even consider it? The answer lies in market dynamics. The 777-10 was a strategic weapon. Its primary target was a select group of airlines, particularly those in the Middle East like Emirates, who operate on a hub-and-spoke model. These carriers thrive on funneling massive numbers of passengers through a single mega-hub. For them, a 450-seat twinjet offered tantalizing economics. Compared to the four-engined Airbus A380, the twin-engine 777-10 would offer significantly lower fuel burn per seat. For an airline flying hundreds of A380s, the potential cost savings were enormous. The The 777-10 was pitched as the A380 killer, an aircraft that could offer similar capacity but with the efficiency of a twin. It was designed to occupy a sweet spot in the market, more capacity than the 777-9, but more efficient and flexible than the A380. Boeing discreetly began showing the concept to key customers. The conversations were strategic. They weren't just selling a plane. They were gauging the market's appetite and, in a way, sending a message to Airbus. The message was clear. If you build a bigger A350, we are ready with something even bigger. It was a classic move in the aerospace chess game, forcing the competition to think twice. For a time, the 777-10 seemed like a real possibility. Aviation forums buzzed with speculation. Artists created stunning renderings of the impossibly long jet. The industry held its breath, waiting to see which manufacturer would blink first. But then, the market shifted again. The very premise that created the need for the 777-10 began to crumble. The Airbus A380 program, once a symbol of European ambition, was faltering. Airlines were finding it difficult to consistently fill the super jumbo, and orders dried up. In 2019, Airbus announced it would end A380 production. With its main rival gone, the primary justification for a 450-seat A380 killer evaporated. Simultaneously, the development of the 777X program itself was facing headwinds. Delays in engine certification and the complexities of the new design pushed its entry into service back by several years. Boeing's focus shifted entirely to getting the 777-9 and the smaller 777-8 certified and delivered to customers. The idea of adding another, even more complex variant to the mix became untenable. The resources, the engineering talent, and the financial capital were all needed for the core 777X program, and so, the Boeing 777-10 was quietly shelved. It never received a formal launch, and no orders were ever placed. It remains a paper plane, a fascinating what-if in the annals of aviation history. But the story of the 777-10 is not one of failure. It's a testament to the incredible strategic thinking and engineering foresight that drives the aerospace industry. It demonstrates that for every aircraft that takes to the skies, there are dozens of concepts that are studied, designed, and debated in boardrooms and engineering labs. These concepts, even if they never get built, push the boundaries of what's possible. The work done on the 777-10 wasn't wasted. The engineering studies on fuselage stretches, landing gear dynamics, and aerodynamic performance provided valuable data that could be used in future aircraft designs. The strategic maneuvering influenced market decisions and may have played a part in Airbus's decision not to pursue a larger A350 variant. Today, the Boeing 777-9 is poised to become the new flagship of the skies, the longest and most efficient twinjet ever built. It carries the DNA of the entire 777 family, including the lessons learned from its phantom sibling, the 777-10. The dream of an 80-meter-long passenger jet may be on hold for now, but in the relentless pursuit of efficiency and innovation, you can be sure that somewhere, deep inside, Boeing and Airbus engineers are already sketching the next generation of giants. The story of aviation is always moving forward, and the tale of the Boeing 777-10 is a powerful reminder that sometimes, the most influential ideas are the ones that never leave the drawing board. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this look into the secret history of aviation, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from the world of flight.